I think the process of domination and control, the system allowing a human to restrict, limit, and enclose in their dwelling has to do with this notion made from psychology and the old traditions and psychiatry and ghosts, hallucinations in the 60s and the 70s, a shadow, a human. The counselor, the psychiatric prescriber, whoever's in charge of the mental health service, whoever has the posture, privilege, in other words. They stare at the shadow and they describe the shadow with language. They interact with the person and they interpret and they learn their gesture. They call what I'm describing communication, letters, behavior, thinking and thought, unfortunately. And then there's attention, there's time. And tasks. The worker makes the calendar appointment for the client patient to attend. A requirement. The person travels to the location. They do the work needed to meet the demands of the home provided now. A person says what they dream about. A person says what their goals are. And the counselor, the psychologist, the psychiatrist, the doctor who's in a lab coat nods. Slowly evaluates and accomplishes their goal with the separation of consciousness and body. The consciousness and the body, seen from the brains through the eye, heard in the brain from the ears, felt on the skin, from the energy inside of the body. Now, the tragedy now has to do with what I have to do now. And a very similar system in place with processes to create the natural habit to cook food and eat dinner. to interact and try to make a friend or to try to get some information to succeed. But often, there's none provided, none given, none allowed other than the computer a messy option with a sign-up sheet and a clipboard and grime and dirt everywhere now. These paid professionals, they watch and they observe the steam come off the spoon. They hear the words from the voice and the sound now. They listen for the key words and phrases: suicide, death, dying, rope, noose. And pain. Sticking a hot spoon, steaming, with fresh rice to burn and punish and harm the mouth, to be inadequate for consumption, privileges, and eating now. There's a point of reference for the paid intelligent genius. The eyes. Most often for the recovered whoever. For the caring and loving social worker with frizzled hair and sweaty odor. The mouth and the teeth. To offer another appointment, another place to visit. And for those who get the pen and the paper, they get the shape and the color and the depth of the shadow. They stare at. And when their room, where they do their evaluation, has too little light, then the shadow consumes the materials. And they get to be with the bare essentials. Now, worst of all, everyone says the system is inherently racist. Systemic racism, they describe the term as now. And they all fund the most destructive part of planet Earth being given no freedom and only provided small amounts of now. All because their book, their DSM manual, and their text from the classroom where they learned in college, from the professor who was born, raised, and grew up to have a high IQ, sees that the behavioral requirements for being healthy and aware enough fail when there's certain symptoms and certain recognizable features of failing to meet the expectations of the world and the city and the place in Seattle, Capitol Hill, Washington. Now, as an example, in Arizona, we wouldn't stop someone from blowing their goddamn head off in these conditions. We'd pour some liquor on the ground and say, man, I am freaking so excited to go where that person went. When they see on the video what happened. When they said, oh no, I'm free. I'm proud. I'm American and I love my country. And I don't want to die for a revolution and a cause. You say with language. You say with your gesture. And you don't explain with your system that you have to replace the government. Now, people with families, their parents put their kids in places like this now, in this building, when they can't do anymore. Older children's parents die and they're left on their own. Young kids have nowhere to go now and get swallowed up whole from those Marxist, obsessed, thug, gangster, gun-toting cartel-loving, shipment receiving, selling product for a good high. Now,